Hello YouTube, Pallav here, and today I'm going to talk about what I'm looking for in a DSLR that is for beginners. A beginner here meaning someone just starting his or her photography journey, totally new, like apart from the phone of course, or someone just upgrading from a point and shoot camera to a more complex DSLR body. But before that, I should tell you something that a DSLR for beginners is not. A DSLR for beginners does not have to be the cheapest one available. Number two, DSLR for beginners does not have to have the least amount of features. And number three, and the most important, is that you stay a beginner only till you buy your first DSLR. Once you start using your first DSLR, you quickly climb up that learning curve and you always yearn for more if you're actually willing to learn photography. And that's why a beginner's camera does not have to be the dumbest cameras of all. Now, once I've cleared that, let's talk about what I'm looking for in a DSLR for beginner photographer, a DSLR for someone who's just upgrading from a point and shoot. What I'm looking for is number one, that it has to be cheap enough. Because you're a beginner, you do not want to invest too much of time that learning curve becomes so much that your camera becomes obsolete. Number two is I'm looking for enough resolution. Because you're a beginner, and particularly if you're using a camera, dedicated camera for the first time, you may not be able to frame your photographs properly. So enough resolution will let you crop the photographs enough and still retain most of its detail. Number three is a great autofocus system, both in still as well as in video. And because you're a beginner, you really need the camera to have good mind around autofocus so that you do not lose your focus on the subject most of the time. I'm also looking for a touchscreen and preferably an articulating one. The touchscreen does not need you to use your brain too much, fiddle around menus too much, just touch to focus, just touch in the menu. And I'm assuming that you already use a smartphone, so this becomes a very learning experience, very usual experience operating a touchscreen. After that, of course, the ultimate still and video quality of the camera. A DSLR for beginners does not have to be like less quality. It can still have a very good sensor, give you very good still and video quality. Next is an easy to use UI. I do not want to find my things, find my preferences deep down in the menu. It has to be easier, the font has to be larger, there has to be less things but more accessible, user intuitive UI. And apart from that, some of the other things I'm looking for, I'm specifically looking for a lightweight, smaller body. Specifically if I'm upgrading for a point and shoot, I do not want to suddenly upgrade to a very heavy body. And also I'm looking for a decent burst speed, because as I'm beginner, I might not be able to know how to track a subject very good. So a good burst speed with a good autofocus system will let me nail my subject most of the time. Now that you know what to look for in a DSLR, if you're a beginner, in the next video we'll list down 5 DSLRs, my top 5 DSLR for beginners, and we'll see which of these particular parameters they all tick. And if someone takes the maximum, or if someone takes even the less but then more efficiently, then I'm gonna probably rank it higher in the order. So see you in the next video.